If you're in your 50s and the prospect of working, doing what you're doing for the next 10 to 15 years fills you with a sense of dread, or it's just not that exciting, and you're thinking of changing things, or switching things up and trying to explore new ways of living and working, then you may have heard some people say, well, just follow your passion, do what you're passionate about. And as soon as people have said that and you've said, well, actually, I'm not sure what I'm passionate about, this video is for you. So what I'm going to talk about today is why you probably can't think of anything that you're passionate about, and how you can start finding those things in life that might make you feel a bit more alive and set you on that path to a new and exciting second half of your working career. So that's what we're about today. Oh, and I've got a great tool for you to use to do that. So why do we find it so hard to find those things that we're passionate about? Well, the truth is that for the past 25 years, we've been focusing most of our lives on effectiveness and efficiency, being good at what we do and doing it quickly and efficiently. Throughout our careers, we've been trying to be better at our jobs, get more done. So we go up the career ladder, we get promoted, we do better in our own businesses. And then children come along and we've got a busy schedule. We're under time pressure. So we try and get through things quickly, try and spread ourselves across lots of different things. And so we get better at doing things well and doing them efficiently, which is great, because we've built a successful life and we've achieved a number of things and we've got to where we are. But when we get to this stage of life, when we're thinking, well, I've had enough of doing all that, I want something new. I want to feel a bit more excited about life. I want to feel more alive. And then we start thinking about, well, what can we do? All of a sudden, it's harder to think about those things, because we've been trained to think about doing things well, effectively and efficiently. And in fact, I read an article this week from a newsletter, and it was about a study that was done back in 2013, and it was based on 24 radiologists. And so they were people who do scans. They look at scans of lungs, and they're looking for early signs of cancer. So they're really trained on focusing on these tiny little nodules that appear on these X-ray scans. And so this research study gave a load of scans to these radiologists, and they were asked to look for a certain type of nodule. And amongst these scans, there was one particular scan that on it had this big gorilla. Now, if you and I saw that scan, you go, why is there a big gorilla on that scan of a lung? But because these radiologists were trained to focus on looking for these tiny nodules, they weren't able to see the big gorilla. And they knew that the researchers knew that they were looking at them. They had those eye scanning glasses on. So their eyes were going over this gorilla, which was 48 times the size of these nodules. But because they were so focused and trained on the nodules, that they just didn't see what was there around them. And I think that's what we suffer from as we get into our 50s and we're looking to change. We're so focused on doing things effectively and efficiently, we don't realize what's out there that could make us feel alive. And so the problem is really, I think, a twofold problem. The first problem is that most of us have a limited range of experiences to draw on. So when people say, oh, follow your passion, what you're passionate about, we've got such a narrow range of experiences that nothing springs to mind. And I can illustrate that point by sharing this story with you. So there's a book called The Artist's Way by Julia Cameron. It's subtitled The Spiritual Path to Higher Creativity. And it was one of these things that I did as I was trying to explore, well, what could I do new in my 50s? And part of the process is a 12-week process, and there are two main tools. The first tool is called Morning Pages, and basically that's about writing, like journaling, for 3 sides of A4 every single morning. Now I did that for 12 weeks. I was able to get up and write like this free association writing for 3 pages every day. And it took about 30 or 40 minutes. And it's a really good tool for introspection. You're really good at getting your thoughts and feelings and observations and beliefs out in the open. And it's a very good self-reflective tool. But the other tool that she talked about was a thing called the Artist's Date. And what that was encouraging you to do was once a week, go and do something different, something that you'd not done before, that was culturally exciting and stimulating and exposed you to something new. And I put in my diary, it was on a Thursday afternoon, every Thursday afternoon for 12 weeks, I put a gap in my diary to do just that, of 2 to 3 hours. And I only managed to do 2 of them. And it was basically because I couldn't think of anything to do. I mean, I live in Edinburgh and there are hundreds, thousands of things to do, but my mind went blank. I just couldn't bring anything to mind. Once I went to a park that I hadn't been to before, and the second time I went to the cinema to watch a film. It was a bit limited, really. So the tool I've got at the end is really a way of breaking out of that to give you something stimulating to do, to give you some ideas. And the second barrier is, even if we can think of new things to do, to experience, we tend to judge them on performance, how good we are at it, and how well we do, and how people react to us. And another story I'd like to share there is about me and my music and DJing. So I used to DJ back in my 20s and I loved it. I used to run club nights. And I've only just in the last year or two reintroduced that back into my life. So I bought a new set of decks, got them up in my bedroom, and I can spend hours just going through my tunes. I'm really into house music, doing these mixes, that mixes with that, and it's just really, really good. Feel very connected to the music, feel lost in it, and it just makes me feel alive. But as a result of doing this, and I've shared this with a number of people, I've actually been asked to do a number of gigs, a number of parties and private parties, function rooms. And I was doing one the other week, and I can really get into the music, but I started noticing, why aren't so many people on the dance floor? Is my music selection not good? Is the music too loud? Am I not mixing properly? And all of a sudden, the thing that I was doing, I was judging on what I thought other people felt. So that's why I've created a list of 50 things for you to explore with. And the 50 things has been designed to do actually 3 things. So the first thing is that when you're confronted with this list, a lot of them, hopefully, you won't have ever tried before. And so that's very important. So on the list, you're choosing things you're a beginner at. And so by definition, you'll be bad at. And that's important. So this isn't about being good at anything. It's not about choosing things that you'll be good at. It's about choosing something that you'll be bad at. Now, the second thing you'll notice is that of all these things, don't judge what you're doing based on what other people think. So again, you'll think, well, people might think that's a bit crazy. Like going to fly a kite is one of the ideas. It doesn't matter. That part of this process, if you want to change your life, to do something new, you have to do something new. And it doesn't matter what other people think. What's important is what you feel. And that's the key thing here. And that leads us on to the third characteristic, or the third thing I want you to watch for, is because all of these things will feel a little bit uncomfortable when you start doing them. But by definition, they'll be new, they'll be strange. And so I want you to be aware of what you feel. So when you go into this project or this idea and you choose something and you do something new, feel the uncomfortable feeling when you start doing something. So like flying a kite, for example. So you'll feel, oh God, look, people are looking at me. I'm on the beach, the wind's up, I'm trying to fly this kite. People might be looking at you. It doesn't matter what other people think. But once the kite's up and you got through that discomfort, notice what you feel. Now, it might not be the actual activity. So for example, one experiment was to get some oil paints, some cheap oil paints, and paint a picture of a tree. Now, again, you might feel uncomfortable. You might be judging yourself about the quality of the painting. It's going to be rubbish. It doesn't matter if other people think it's good or not. And actually, you might not actually enjoy the task of painting, but what you might enjoy is like observing things closely. Or what you might enjoy is mixing colors. You notice you like the mix of colors, and that's something in there that brings you joy. Or you might like the fact that you're sat outside doing something, or you're doing something with your hands. So all these things are things that you should notice, because the key here is doing things you're not used to doing to spark a little bit of discomfort. So it's new, you're a little bit uncomfortable, but then you notice what you feel and notice what makes you feel alive and what aspects of the activity is it that you enjoy. And so that's the experiment, that's the tool. And there's a list of 50 things that you can try out. So the way to get the list is I've got a link underneath this video in my Substack channel. So head over there, subscribe to my Substack channel, and you'll get the list of 50 things for free. Or the other thing is, I may well make a video of these 50 things. So I'm not making any promises, but it was suggested to me that that might be a good idea. And I think it is a good idea. I just need to find some time to do it. So subscribe to this channel, and if I do make it, then you'll know that those 50 ideas will be a video at some point in the future. Anyway, that's it for today. I really hope that you do try some of these things out, because this transition in our 50s can be difficult. You know, trying new things, exploring new ideas can be challenging, but doing these very low risk, discrete things that cost £30 or are free, take up an hour or two of your time at a weekend, and then allow you to observe what it is that's going on inside you that might make you feel more alive, is a really good way to start moving you closer to the things that you are passionate about. So what makes you feel alive, that enables you to go that step further the next time, that make more changes, more substantial changes in your life, that just then makes your life a whole lot better, and you're not stuck in the same old rut for the next 10 to 15 years until you decide to do something different. Okay, that's it for today. Hope you found that useful, and I'll see you in the next video.